And yet that document has placed in the hands of the governed, the American people, control of the number one economy in the world, the strongest military in the world, the mightiest nation on the planet. The good news about that is that checks and balances system, when we're doing well as a nation, when we're in a period of prosperity, man, we can just ride that wave all the way to the shore. But when we experience times like this, when our economy is floundering, when we have major spending issues and mounting debt, the problem is that those same checks and balances make it very, very difficult to get things done. Because our founding fathers did not want a new president, a new Senate, a new House of Representatives to come in and start undermining and changing what they had put in place. What it requires is everybody sitting around the table, looking at the solution, looking at the problems, and developing solutions that move the ball forward. You know, we're dealing with a situation here, Ed, that you know, no one is more frustrated than I am. We've got a Senate that hasn't passed a budget in 3 years. We've got over 30 pieces of job-creating legislation, things like the Keystone XL pipeline that would move us one step closer to energy independence and that would help lower the price of gasoline at the pump. But that legislation sits idle over in the Senate, and the President of the United States has threatened to veto it, even if he gets it. There are some great ideological and philosophical differences in the kind of country that some people want America to be. We're having this great debate once again. Are we going to be a company based on big government, big spending, high taxes, or are we going to be a country that's based on private sector economic growth, individual freedom and liberty? Now, we know what our founding fathers chose. They chose private sector economy, individual freedom and liberty. And every time we've had this debate in our nation's history, we've made the right decision. And right now today, the American people are screaming for Washington to balance the budget, to cut spending, to stop sending our jobs overseas because of onerous taxes and regulatory actions, and to put the American people first with an effective, efficient federal government. That's what I'm fighting for. But it does not happen quickly, my friend. I wish I could tell you that I could snap my fingers and make that so. But it's going to take a fight day in and day out. My pledge to you is that I will continue to fight to make sure that we do those right things by the American people. I've sat with members of the other party. I have a very good relationship with several members of the other party. I've done bipartisan work with Congressman Tim Ryan, who's a Democrat from the 17th District up in the Youngstown area. I've had bipartisan support for legislation that I have introduced. And I've been endorsed, for example, by the plumbers and pipe fitters up in the northern part of the 6th District of Ohio, because I've demonstrated that I want to come to the table with management, with labor, with government, and walk away with solutions where everybody wins. There are no losers. Everybody wins, and the ball moves forward. I agree with you, Ed. It's awfully frustrating, but you know, it's going to take some change in leadership in some positions to get past this partisan gridlock that we currently have in Washington, D.C. Hey, let me ask you a question again. If you would, please, give me some feedback. Later today, I will be voting to repeal a key part of President Obama's takeover of health care that imposes a tax on medical devices that will raise the cost of health care. Would you vote to repeal this tax as well? Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Again, later today, I'll be voting to repeal a key part of President Obama's takeover of health care that imposes a tax on medical devices that will raise the cost of health care. Would you vote to repeal this tax as well? Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. And if you would like to ask a question, please press 0 on your keypad, and it'll put you into the call, put you into the question queue, and then you can get right back into the call. This is Congressman Bill Johnson. I appreciate you joining the call today. We're going to go to Ruth down in Sebring. Hi, Ruth. How are you?
I'm very good. You're the most intelligent person I've heard talk yet. Hello?
I'm sorry, I lost you there for a second. Ruth, go ahead.
Oh, I said, you are someone that really understands. Are you running for office? Because if you are, you're my man. Anyway, I'm 91 years old.
Oh my goodness, Ruth, yes, I am running for office. I am currently your representative for the 6th District of Ohio, and I'm running for re-election this November, yes.
Because I don't understand how some of these people that are up there with the high-paid offices can't understand what happened. It all was the middle class. They wiped the middle class out. And the middle class is what kept this country going. They're the ones that worked and paid their bills and paid their taxes, and then they wipe them out. What they are looking for is just a two-class. Either you're poor or you're rich. And that isn't the way our forefathers struggled for. They struggled to save the country and to make it for the people. And now there are groceries. Our food is coming from overseas. Our clothes are coming from overseas. I can't pack up anything and don't say, if I see USA, I buy it whether I need it or not. That's the only way we're going to get back in.
Yeah.
I look on everything. Am I wrong to say
No, you're not wrong. Ruth, we have one of the reasons that so many companies have moved their manufacturing facilities overseas is because we've got a federal government that just does not understand that it's not the federal government that creates jobs, it's the private sector that creates jobs. And in the process of raising taxes and placing more and more regulatory burden on today's businesses, we wind up sending manufacturing overseas. Let me give you a good example of that. A lot of people along the Ohio River in the 6th District have a long legacy of hard work in the steel industry. One of the key raw ingredients in the steel industry is a material called manganese ferroalloy. This is a mineral that is required if we're going to manufacture steel. We have 2 manganese ferroalloy producing facilities in America. One of them is in Marietta, Ohio. One of them is in Letart, West Virginia. The EPA is about to issue a rule around clean air standards that will essentially shut those 2 facilities down. It will destroy over 500 jobs. But what you were just talking about is even more staggering. Without the ability to produce manganese ferroalloy here in America, we don't make steel. Now, we've got to have steel, so what that means is we wind up having to go buy that material from our competitors overseas, like China and Korea and Japan and others.